Hello everybody, I'm AC and welcome to IPR's Game Room. Today we're going to be talking about The Quiet Year by Avery Alder. You may have heard of this game before as it's fairly popular. My first introduction to it was when Friends at the Table played it. It's one of my favorite actual play podcasts. They played it at the beginning of their Marielda game and used it as like this really cool world building tool to start off that campaign. But it's also just great as a standalone little game for you and your friends to play. It takes about 3 to 4 hours and it's really fun. The Quiet Year is a map drawing game based around difficult choices, community, and changing landscape. As you play, you make decisions based on prompts, and those decisions are then recorded down on your group's ever-changing and evolving map. The Quiet Year is set in a post-apocalyptic landscape filled with the remains of a ruined society. A play group consists of 2 to 4 players, one of whom plays the role of the facilitator. Now, the facilitator is kind of a game master, but only in the sense in that if, someone gets stuck and they can't think of an answer to a prompt, or maybe there's a little bit of friction between 2 players, the facilitator is there to keep things moving. They also, at the beginning of the game, read out a bunch of prompts that teach the players how the game works. Prompts such as the opening story. For a long time, we were at war with the jackals. Now, finally, we've driven them off, and we're left with this, a year of relative peace. One quiet year with which to build our community up and learn again how to work together. Come winter, the frost shepherds will arrive, and we might not survive the encounter. This is when the game will end, but we don't know about that yet. What we know is that right now, in this moment, there is an opportunity to build something. Now, there's a bunch of other read aloud sections in the book that just walk the players through how to start the game and all that. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of those right here. The Quiet Year updated bag set, which is what we currently have on our website, comes with pretty much everything you're going to need to play the game. All players need to gather is themselves, a blank sheet of paper, some pencils, erasers, and an index card or 2. The game comes with everything else: the deck, contempt tokens, dice, and the instruction booklet. The mechanics are really simple. Players start out by shuffling the season decks. You have spring, summer, autumn, and winter. You then stack them in order with winter at the bottom. Now the winter deck has that Frost Shepherd's card that can be drawn at any point once you get to that season, and that just straight up ends the game. The blank page serves as your map. Players go around filling out a few simple facts and landmarks to guide what your community looks like. Players are encouraged to go around the table and each pick one landmark to put on the map at the beginning of the game. These landmarks can be anything from a fishing port to an abandoned mine or forest or even just a big interesting rock. One of the games that I've played in The Quiet Year, one of the players did pick just a cool looking rock that was super big. And later on in the game, a guy ended up crawling out of it, so who knows what might happen. Now, all of these details, including ones that you create later in the game, are drawn on the map. That's the point of the game. It does not matter what your artistic skill level is. Stick figures are totally okay and even expected. Player turns are only supposed to take about 2 to 3 minutes anyways, so really, if you're taking the time to draw a beautiful, realistic portrait, you're probably taking too long. Now, players go around adding one resource to their community. Resources can be anything, from a source of fresh water to a food source to safety or even happiness. Choosing it, however, means that this thing is important to your group. Players then choose one of their resources to be in abundance, and the rest are in scarcity. Now, this can change throughout the course of the game. Players can start projects to add to scarce resources, or even find new resources. Once your map is set up and resources selected, the game begins. Players start their turn, which is considered a week in game, by drawing a card from the deck of seasons. They then decide which of the 2 prompts on the card they want to answer, and read that prompt out loud to the group. Once they complete the actions on that card, They then can perform one of 3 actions. There's discover something new, which is literally you can discover something new anywhere on the map. Now, the game asks that you keep this within reason. Remember, you're trying to create an interesting story, not suddenly have Godzilla on the horizon destroying your community. Next, you can hold a discussion. Discussions start with the active player either asking a question or making a statement. Now, if they ask a question, everybody around the table answers that question and it comes back to the active player who then gets to answer the question themselves. If they make a statement, then everybody around the table gets to discuss that statement, but they are done and don't get to say anything else about it. Lastly, projects can be started. As mentioned before, you can use them to reduce scarcity in the resources, or even to go explore a part of the map that's still empty, or maybe the community lost a member and they need to go be found, or they found a bunch of broken machines that need to be fixed. Any of these can be a project. The active player then decides how many weeks they think the project is going to take to complete. Then they assign a project die to it that is put where the project is happening, and that project die is then reduced every week from then on until completion. Thus, the game goes on throughout all the seasons until the Frost Shepherds arrive in winter and the game ends. The Quiet Year is generally a rather serious game. You're expected to both create a community that you care about, as well as create challenges that tear it apart. The goal is to create an interesting story, not necessarily a happy one. Now, that does not mean that every game of the Quiet Year is going to be tragic. As always, role-playing games are what the players make of them. I've had games ranging from very somber and serious, a small group of travelers slowly getting smaller as their numbers get picked off until winter and there was really no one left, to a pretty large town that the only real conflicts were between the religions that popped up, between the Church of the Mouth and the people of the Nose. It's really whatever your group is into. I also definitely recommend this game as a type of Session Zero world building tool for longer term campaigns. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Friends at the Table did this really successfully with their Marielda campaign, and I think it's really great partially because with every time I've played the Quiet Year, there's no way you can stop yourself from just falling in love with these communities that you create. And I think it would be really fun to be able to go back to them and delve even deeper and get, instead of that sort of bird's eye view that you're holding the entirety of the game, get more of the view of the people who are actually living in this community that you've created. The Quiet Year updated bag set is available on indiepressrevolution.com right now through the link in the description, and I really hope you'll check it out. As always, remember to subscribe to this channel, as well as check out our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those things, also linked in the description. We also have a monthly newsletter. It's only sent out once a month, and it has everything you might want to know about what's going on with IPR. This includes new games that have come in, restocked games, what conventions we're going to be at, all that kind of news, even like podcasts or live streams that we think you guys might like. It's really fun, and again, it's only once a month, so it's not going to be cluttering up your inbox or anything. And remember, gamers, though the years may be long and harsh, and eventually the Frost Shepherds await us all, for now let us all come close and find comfort in those that we hold dear. Talk to you next time.